Hello, and welcome to 5 Things You Need to Know About Successful Presentations in 5 Minutes or Less, a video series where we provide tips and tricks for various aspects of the graduate student research experience in 5 minutes or less. In this video, we offer tips and tricks for a successful presentation. Although there are many different types of presentations, we will primarily describe tips for presenting research via a slide deck. Now I will turn it over to Melina to provide the first recommendation.
Thanks, Olivia. First, consider your audience. Cater your language and concepts to who you are presenting to. Be careful of technical language and jargon that might make it confusing for some audiences. To that point, we have found that providing explicit and detailed examples rather than facts and figures can really help to communicate a point. For example, when I presented on an intervention study I conducted, I found the audience to be much more engaged when I shared anecdotal stories about student and family experiences with the intervention. Especially when your audience is practitioners, this is a useful tip. Focusing on study findings, how you went about implementing the intervention, participant reactions, and recommendations for practice are key points to highlight when presenting to practitioners. In contrast, when your audience is researchers, you can focus on the methods for your study and provide greater detail regarding the analyses and directions for future research. Based on your audience, you can determine the language and focus of your presentation, practical application versus theoretical implications. Remember to ensure your presentation follows the plan outlined in the proposal you submitted, because proposal reviewers accepted that proposal and audience members likely reviewed your session description and objectives with the goal of obtaining that information. So don't stray too far from what you set out to communicate back when you submitted your presentation proposal.
Next up, what does a good presentation look like and include? First, a title slide. Start your presentation with a session title and presenter information. It might be helpful to include things like a QR code audience members can scan to access supplemental materials or your website while they are waiting for the presentation to begin. Once you start, include an attention getter to engage your audience and spark interest. Be sure to introduce yourself and your fellow co-presenters as well.
Next, include an agenda. Have an agenda and list objectives from your proposal so your audience knows what they will be learning from the beginning. It can be helpful throughout the presentation to reference which objective you are speaking to. This helps orient the audience.
Remember that less is more when it comes to presentation slides. Make sure your slides are not packed with paragraphs of text. This will overwhelm your audience and they may not listen to what you are saying. Instead, include clear bullet points and graphics. Of note, at some conventions, audience members are able to download a handout or a PDF version of your slides. If this is the case, include enough information on your slides that a reader can obtain the necessary information if they need to reference the slides at a later date. If you only include graphics and visuals on slides without any text, it can be difficult for the audience to review your presentation later or even cite it in their own work. Try to find a nice balance between graphics and text to communicate your points.
Our last tip addresses what can sometimes be the most nerve-wracking: speaking. You have put in all this work to prepare a visually appealing slide deck with enough information, but not too much text. But the preparation does not stop there. We recommend, especially for graduate students new to presenting, to write a script that corresponds to each slide in your presentation. During this time, you can determine which presenter takes which slide and draft exactly what you plan to say. This ensures that if you get really nervous when presenting, you have the information you want to communicate already written down. In addition, you can read through your script before your presentation. We have noticed that the less we need to speak off script at first, the better we feel about our presentation. However, as you become more comfortable, you may not need a script and can speak more freely. Be sure that you don't read straight from the slide. As you present, speak confidently, clearly, and slowly. And as always, practice. Practice what you want to say. Be ready with resources and links for audience members and discuss who amongst your co-presenters will field questions. Remember, it's okay to say you don't have that information right now, but can collect the audience members' contact information to share what you find.
As we wrap up, we also want to recommend that as you attend conferences, you take note not only of the content you learn, but also of presentation styles you like or don't like so that you can enhance your own presentation skills. Thank you for tuning in to 5 things you need to know about successful presentations in 5 minutes or less. Please subscribe and be on the lookout for our next video, 5 things you need to know about utilizing the digital space for research. We look forward to engaging with you and serving as a resource for your introductory research needs. Remember to check out our website and social media. Take care.